What's up guys, it's Sean from Window Tint Warriors, and today I'm going to show you how to install pre-cut window tint on the side doors of a 2021 Tesla Model Y. And on this video I'm going to show you the side doors, and I'm going to make a separate video for the back window so that way the video doesn't get too extended. But first I would like to shout out someone that DM'd me. So I got a DM this morning. It is currently Tuesday the 8th of December, saying, "Hey mate, just wanted to say what an inspiration you are, and thank you for your amazing work and videos. I'm from the UK, but watch all of your videos. I'm a tinter who's just starting out, hoping to make it a full-time job starting next year." His name is Jamie from the UK. Thank you for that message. This is why I do these videos, to help you guys grow, help you guys learn, and help you guys start a business doing window tinting. So that's awesome. That's why I provide this free information. Keep DMing me. That keeps me motivated to keep making more videos. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do on the Tesla Model Y, and it's what I personally do, is remove the bottom gasket on the inside because it is very tight against the glass. So removing that gives you a lot more working room and less chances for fingers popping up on the bottom. So to do that, there's one T30 Torx tip right in this hole down here. So we're going to start by removing that. Comes right out. And then once you have that removed, on the front doors we do have to take the speaker off, which is very simple. You could take a bone gasket stick and just pop it up from the front and slide it straight up, and you can see right here it slides onto this little metal piece right here, and then the clips on the bottom stay stationary, and we're going to leave that connected. So once you have the speaker removed and the screw removed, we can grab the door panel, roll it down, give yourself more room to work with, grab the top of the door panel and just roll it back. Basically what you're doing is just popping it off of the gasket, letting it free so that you can go ahead and lift the gasket up. So before you lift the gasket up, we have this rubber piece right here. This whole rubber section back here is connected to the gasket. We're gonna go ahead and release that first, and we got a clip on the top, a clip on the bottom, and then we also have a clip on the inner area on the bottom. Those come out very easily. Once you have those released, you can lift the gasket straight up and out. Now before you roll the window up, if you guys look here, we are very close to the metal, and it's actually going to hit the metal once you take the gasket out here. So before you roll it up, you want to put pressure on the top of the glass and then roll the window up, holding pressure on the glass as you roll it up. Last thing you want to do is scratch the glass and cause further issues with that. Just do that when you're rolling the window up and down. If you do roll the window back down without the gasket, just make sure you're putting pressure on it. So let's do the same thing with the back door. We'll do the inside-outside prep, also tricking the doors up, but let's take that gasket out. So same thing, a T30 Torx tip. It's in the same position. The only thing different about the back door is that you don't have to take the speaker off. There is no speaker. We're still gonna roll the window down, roll the panel back. The only differentiation between the front door and the back door, other than the speaker, is that you have this rubber area on the front and the back of the gasket. So it's the same situation. Just stick a tool behind there, preferably a plastic trim tool, and just release those little clips. It's the same thing on the front side, just two on the outer and one on the inner, and then the gasket comes straight up. Again, be careful, put pressure on the glass before you roll it up and as you roll it up, so that it doesn't rub on the metal. So now before we go and tint this window, we have to make sure that it's in the fully up position, because when you open and close these doors, they do shift up and down. So on this, we have the latch down on the back of the door, and the window goes up, and the same thing on the front door, window goes up. Now we're ready to prep the inside and the outside of the glass. Then we'll take the pre-cut film and lay it on the outside and do a little pre-shrink before we install it. So for the outside prep, this car was just clean, so I'm just gonna do a light mist of water with a microfiber towel. And then for the inside, I'm gonna use a brand new single edge razor blade to just slightly scrape the window in case there's any residue on the glass. Making sure that you use a brand new .009 1-inch razor blade. It doesn't have to be stainless steel, but just make sure it's new. Once we blade the glass, just give it a quick wipe down. Make sure there's no residue behind. I do notice that there is some residue on the top half or the top section from rubbing on the factory rubber. Just wipe that off with a towel, and then you'll be good to go. Then we have the rear quarter glass windows. We'll give those a quick scrape as well. Right now, once we have the glass completely clean, I'm going to soak up the exterior of the glass, mist the tint. I'm going to line it up about an inch from the bottom so that I can wet shrink it on the outside to make sure it's completely form fitted when we install it on the inside. So squeegee across the top, bring them down the sides, and then we'll take those fingers right to the center. Before I go and shrink this, I'll put the piece on the back side so I have that there, and then we'll go ahead with shrinking those fingers. Once we have it all laid up on the outside, the door windows and all the fingers are pushed to the bottom so that we can go ahead and shrink them. We're going to use the heat gun and the gold hard card to shrink these on the exterior. So we're going to start from the top, and just like any other finger situation, shrink them down. Go ahead and release that from the window and lay it out to be installed. So to do that, I like to line it up about an inch from the bottom, overlapping the back edge, and making sure we're not overhanging the top edge, because we're going to squeegee that down into place. Remove all that excess water on the top that could have contamination in it. Wipe the top edge, and then we'll do a squeegee spray with the yellow turbo squeegee on the inside. I also like to take the Easy Reach and just get a little bit of water between this gasket and the glass to make sure that that's lubricated when we go to install the window film. I'm going to roll my sleeves up for this. Squeegee from front to back, overlapping strokes, wiping the squeegee blade after each pass. I'll do a final rinse and mist of the glass, and we'll go ahead and peel the release liner. Spraying at the same time. We'll go ahead and grab the material by the bottom corner. Just let it fall over our hands, just like any other tint installation that you guys see me do. And we're going to drop the front corner in, the back edge, and we'll slide it forward before we lay the top down to make sure that that top is laid in place and not over the edge, because if you overlap the edge, you could collect contamination. Let's make sure we're up in the front. Open that gasket up a little bit, line up the top. Line up the back. All right. This is a pre-cut, and pre-cuts are not always perfect on Teslas because Tesla uses so many different glass manufacturers or styles of glass. This is a 2021 Tesla Model Y, and on the 21s they started with the double pane glass, but they're still using a pattern for the single pane glass as far as I understand. So it matches up really nice and tight. If you are someone that does shaving on the edges, you can shave the edges. Otherwise, this is extremely acceptable the way that it is. So just line it up as best as possible and squeeze it out from there. So we're going to mount it in place across the top, work our way to the back and bottom, and you can see we have a little bunch up here. So I'm going to try to work this down with my hand. If it doesn't release, I'll open it up with the Easy Reach. Stuff the material down there as we go. Just work our way down. Now we're good to squeegee. So once I have the majority of it mounted and it's not going to move around on me, I'll go over it with the Blue Max with a handle to get even hard pressure across the top, and then overlapping strokes all the way down. You can see I'm holding the glass to kind of alleviate the pressure that I'm placing from the inside and push against it, to then in turn push a little bit harder. And push out the bottom edge. Go down the front edge with the easy reach. Wipe the door panel down really quick so it doesn't stay soaking wet. So after we did the final squeegee, I like to push out the top edge with the gray lid coat card and the blue Huck towel with the heat gun to seal up that top edge. Especially if it's a cold climate area, you definitely want to accelerate the drying process. And of course the back edge, since it is a frameless window, and the bottom edge, since we do have that exposed, we can heat it and push it with the gray lid coat card. The gray lid coat card will not scratch the tint, so this is safe to use on the tint side. Give it a quick check from the outside. Make sure the top edge is sealed up, there's no parts lifting. I like to heat from the outside and just kind of give it a solid push from the inside. The front door is done. We're gonna let that sit before we put the gasket back in. We'll go ahead and install the rear door. So same situation, spray the top edge, like to overlap the back edge. Squeeze the top to remove any contamination in the water that's there. Wipe the top edge to again remove any contamination. Then we'll do a spray squeegee spray. Around the perimeter, wipe the blade, overlapping strokes. Flush out the bottom a little bit, miss the center, feel the liner. And spray at the same time. And again, grab the bottom corner, droop it over our hands, and we're just gonna lay the bottom in. Work our way down, line up the edges. Bam. So you guys know, if you are trying to learn window tinting and you want some hands-on training, check out windowtintsupplies.com or windowtintwarriors.com. That link will bring you right to the page on Window Tint Supplies, where we have all the information on our hands-on class in New York. We also sell all the tools that you could possibly need to learn window tinting and run a window tinting business. So we have this all lined up. All of our edges are nice and consistent. There's no overlaps. You saw I did the first squeegee passes to kind of get the film to start tacking into place. I didn't press very hard. As we squeegee, make sure you double check your alignment because the film can move. And hold the glass, since it is loose, to make sure it doesn't bounce around. Double check it again. Once we ensure that it's in the right position, we'll mist it up. Grab the Blue Max with the handle and go ahead and squeegee that out. Starting from the top, overlapping, working our way down. Wiping the blade occasionally. If you do grab a piece of sand or a grain of dirt, it can scratch the tint if you drag it along with the Blue Max. So always get in the habit of wiping the blade. Push down. And then we'll seal up the perimeter with a towel wrapped around the gray lid coat card with the heat gun. You can see I'm just double checking that edge, making sure we're not overhanging, because it is a very tight edge. You push the bottom out with the bare gray lid coat card and the heat gun, and get that bottom edge sealed up. Wipe the door panel down. We'll give it a check from the outside. Now with the factory tint being there, it does make it a little bit harder to see any imperfections. So just look really close, take your time, make sure there's no hairs or hard debris like a grain of sand or anything like that. And if you are in a cold climate or in a cold season, just make sure you overheat. Don't overheat, but heat up the glass to accelerate the drying process, Make sure the film doesn't peel when the customer leaves. All right, now to do the quarter glass, what I do is I take this pre-cut quarter glass window, I'll mount it to the outside just to make it easier to peel the liner and also remove any contaminants off of the film or the surrounding area. Then I'll go on the inside, mist the glass up, pass with the squeegee, overlapping strokes as best as possible. Do a light mist. Come on the outside, peel the liner. Since we have a pre-cut, we have that overhanging liner. Mist it up very lightly. Grab it like so. You saw I use my fingernail to pop it off of the glass and then stick it to my hand. Lay it in there. And once we lay it in here and get it lined up, you see how it's moving around a lot. So we'll line it up how we want it. Heat it up from the outside a little bit. That way once we do that first squeegee mount, it'll stay in place. Wipe the water off so the heat transfers faster. Look in a circular motion. Just so that the glass is warm to touch. You allow the heat to transfer through. We'll do a light mist on the inside. Then we'll do a light squeegee stroke just to get it stuck. It will potentially move around still, depending on how much you heated it. Obviously, the more you heat it, the quicker it'll stick. You obviously don't want to overheat it as well. Right. And that's a perfect quarter glass window. Wipe off any of that water, any drip marks. All right guys, now that the doors and the quarter glass window is done, we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the gasket on the bottoms. So we'll pull the door panel away. We can leave the window up for this. Push it on the track, all the way forward, then bring it down. And then before we go and roll the door panel back onto the gasket, we're gonna put these clips in. We have the one in the inside area and the two on the outside area. Simply just push in. Then we can take the door panel and kind of push from this side right here with your palm, and with the other hand lift the panel up. That way it just goes right on top of the gasket, and then the rest of the way you can kind of smack it back into place. So now that we make sure that the panel is completely back on, clicked across the entire top and the back side, we take the speaker, and the main alignment point here is this hole and this piece of metal. That metal hook goes in the hole, and you can just simply push down and click into place. Make sure that it's nice and even, and then we'll put that T30 Torx tip back in this grip area here. And that's done. Now we can trick the door back down. Do the same thing with the back door, and then we'll be done with the doors on this Tesla Model Y. So the back door gasket can be a little bit more tricky to reinstall because you have to install the whole thing as one, because you have these two rubber flaps on the ends. So we'll line up one side while at the same time popping the other side in, and then we'll go ahead and line up those clips. So if these little clips don't align, that means you just may need to move the gasket back and forth to get it to slide into place. All right, let's do the front side. And then we can roll the door panel back onto the gasket. The main pressure point is going to be the front, so you want to do that first. There we go. If it does give you a hard time, you can just roll the window down. As long as you know it sat for long enough, give yourself some more working area here. It does take quite a bit of pressure to get that panel back onto the gasket on the back door. Trick the door back down. Always double check when you're closing Tesla doors to make sure as you're closing it, the window isn't going to hit the trim, because if you don't trick the door all the way down, you will damage this upper trim. Same thing with the front. That is how you tint all the side windows with a pre-cut window tint kit on a 2021 Tesla Model Y. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment.